Hi and welcome to the Samsung Odyssey G9 monitor. It is a wonderful 49-inch monitor with 5120 by 1440 res. As you can see, it's one of my photos just to show you. When you do photography on a 5K sort of scale, you can do it with a regular Samsung or a regular 16.9, but then you have to crop it so it would fit this kind of screen res. And you can use Adobe Photoshop or Lightroom Classic or any one of these things that can be edited there, and you can fit the photo into this kind of res. For the first time when you receive your monitor, you'll probably be setting it up with, you'll be receiving it with 3 cables that are about 2 meter long in length, which is far too short. I had to get 4 3-meter cables. There's a difference between the two, which I'll now explain. The 3 by 2 meter cables that you'll get, I think one's an HDMI cable, one's a power cable, and one's a monitor to the USB into the back of the computer. Now, with this monitor, you also get a possible to see various different reses. This is on DisplayPort 2 here, so that I can have 240 Hertz. On HDMI you'll only get 60 Hertz, and on DisplayPort 1 I think you may get up to about 120 if you're lucky. In order to use a 240 Hertz you have to have that, otherwise you'll not get it. When setting up the computer, even after a crash or the first time, do not use the DisplayPort. You have to use the HDMI, otherwise Windows will cease to operate within the BIOS. In order to get the BIOS or to get into a Windows prep environment, in order for system setups, you'll need to use the HDMI cable, which looks something like one of these cables. This is why I had 4 3-meter cables. You put a cap on it to keep it clean, and if you look very carefully, you'll see here the shape of the cable is different from an HDMI, which this is, to DisplayPort. And my DisplayPort cable is a 1.4, so it takes that version of the DisplayPort cable. This one is is the thickest of the 4, but they're all very thin cables which I could get into the monitor and pack them in there very carefully, so I don't have to move the monitor every time I have a computer issue. For this reason, to lift this monitor and to put it on a large, small double bed, turn it on its side, take the back panels out and open it up, change cables because I've got a computer crash, or I want to change from Windows 10 to 11, or decided I don't like 11, I want to go back to 10, or whatever change you want to make, or go to server. You're going to have to pick up a 16.7 kilogram monitor, and that to me is a no-no. For these kinds of reasons, I got from Amazon 4 cables. The 2 silver ones, the thicker of the 2 is the HDMI, the thinner is the DisplayPort 2, the blue one is the USB, and it's got a right angle, and it's easy to fit in there, and the black one here is the power cable. So you can see with my fingers, you can see the 4 distinct cables there. I can show you here. It's easy to see. And I put a tie on there to keep them neatly packed together. The other cable is the speaker cable with a Razer Chroma, and it has the glowing things underneath it. On the glass it looks quite cool, but it's a gaming computer. I have a 12-core with liquid cooling in my computer system, so it's very nice. 1 TB SS hard D with the operating system, so it'll operate very quickly. And with 10 and 11, even server, it's very good. So there's no worries to use these operating systems. Now, if I go now into the menu system, and I go here to get, this is where you would change the modes in here. This here should be on off. That I've got off. You can use picture within picture, which puts the picture down here, or you can separate it as, and here you have the different languages that you can use. And then if you go here to infinity core lighting, Oh yes, that's what I was looking for, the rainbow. I set it to rainbow. That can be changed. What's it? Right, local dimming is on auto. Volume I left it as it was. Dynamic contrast, set it to ultimate. And I got the picture mode on cinema. Now because I've done both the dynamic contrast on ultimate with a cinema mode, it comes up as you can see with a perfect picture res. And if I prove something to you with other shots I took in Peebles, just to show you around Peebles, very quickly, just to show you the difference. Yeah, you can see the quality of the pictures, right? There's one in particular I want you to see when I get to it. I'm not bothered about the gulls or whatever birds happen to be there. This is the one picture I want. That's a picture I used for Shaw Academy. Yeah. Now look at this. This was altered in Lightroom CC, you know, Lightroom Classic CC, and look at the quality of that. That was done a few years prior to me having a 5K system. Now all my movies are done in this format, which is a totally different way of doing things, but it can be done because you have to crop the films or the pictures so it fits within this format. Usually a 5K is 5120 by 2880 or something, which is much wider this way. This way is just a thin, like a strip. Now from about a meter away with the eye, it is very soothing and relaxing to use this kind of monitor from the eye, because it doesn't irritate the eye. On a regular monitor, see I've got the volume there at 50 right now. On a regular monitor you'll have the HDMI setup, which will give you 60 Hertz, and that as I use a computer 12 to 16, usually between 16 to 18 hours a day, 7 days a week with breaks, that on 60 Hertz would irritate my eyes, something chronic, and the same would happen to you. This is why Samsung designed one of these. It's a pure gaming monitor. I use it mainly for graphic design and web development, which I can show you very briefly. To do with graphic design and web development, those who favor this kind of job over just being gamers, because this is designed purely for gamers, but it works perfectly for graphic design and web development. So those who are in this area would use monitors that are wide, and it's very productive, or film, in the film industry, where you can have long wave files which are easily produced in either, if you're using a Video Studio 21 Ultimate, which would have a nice long wave file across there, or better to show the wave file would be Pinnacle Studio 24 Ultimate, as I've got here. So I could use either of them, because each of them are slightly different to the other. And then you can you see, you can put your wave file, and of course you can stretch it to the size of the monitor if you so wish, depending on the file of that you are using. On the web development side, just to show you something, I'm going to go into one of my websites. Let's just see. Right, let's go to Xen Gallery. Now I'm going to load up my index page. Yeah. What this does, if I move slightly to the left there, right, this is the code on the left. So when you're coding, you can then study the code on the left. On the right, when you want to view it, yeah, this is how my website would look. Okay. That ball took me about a day and a half, but the website itself took me about a week to do, just, you know, there. Now if I click on this, it changes into 3 different versions of, you know, as you can see it doing. I can click on any of the pictures. It will take me to Xen Designs and Web Development. So graphic designs and web development, and you can see the pages here with just 3 regular pictures that were over. These two were this is the same picture. It's not 2 different pictures, it's 1 picture. That was an overexposed picture that I took of Sam. Not yeah, it was him, yeah, when he was posing by the vehicle. And when it's overexposed and you work with it, you can change them into different colors. And that's him by the Nissan GTX as a Skyline. It had troubles. So now I can click on that and it will just take you back to my website here, which I'm just going to remove for the minute. Now if I browse through various different pages, you can see what they do. And this kind of thing takes a lot of work. There's one thing that I want to show you in particular, not that so much. You see there he is again. Now watch what I've done here. That also takes work. Watch this. Yeah. See how it changes. And when you click on the picture, it'll just bring you back to that website. I have 5 websites. Xen Biz, Xen.com, Xen.net, Xen, the .eu one is my Xen Movies, and the Xen-Flix.com is my Xen Flix website. And those are the 5 websites I use. This is the Xen Designs and Web Development. That's what I was looking for. And of course, this is what happens when there's mistakes. And it's page 6, yeah. So if I want to load up page 6 of the Xen Gallery, if I then load up the actual website itself, because I think I've fixed it since then. So if I go here, x-osn.biz, and I go here, it should actually load up. This is the actual site itself. This is what I really wanted to show you. Now this, yeah, this is a small version. You can click on it and it'll just take you there. That's what that would do. But watch what happens. You see the greens on the left and the blues on the right. Now watch when I highlight it. It switches. When you click on it, you get the big version of it. And these are my photos. Oh, you see. This took about a few days to a week to design properly. And it just takes you back there. But this happens with construction of sites. Yeah. Under here, that should be on page, that's page 6, yeah. So if I go here to, because I must have moved it from page 6. So if I go, no, it's still there. Okay, so it did load up, because I couldn't find it, but there it is there. Now to look at that in the code context, so if I go here to show you what that does in the code, layers, it's in here. There we go. Page 6. There it is on the left here. You see, I've got it here. Yeah. And if I use this, so if I want to now view this in Mozilla, there it is there. That on the left is that there. But to view this on its own, when you click on that, all it does, it just takes you to there. So that's not the way to view it. That the actual full version of that page would be loaded. Easiest way to view it. There we go. See? All of that. Then to view it properly, there we have it there. And you can see that's the work that you need to do to go through with constructing websites. It takes a lot of work, and a good monitor this size is very useful for this kind of project. Yeah. And that's what this is really about. For film work, yeah, I would then go here, and of course I would go to my demos like the one I'm doing now of this, which actually I'll show you the previous one that I worked on. How about it in the demos? It'll give you a taste of what's what. Take that out. You can see how this full screen comes out. Yeah. I'm going to cut the music very soon after the title of the program. You can see here this is done with infrared photography. 4K converted or upscaled to 5K using a lot of work. That's the title of it. QTS and Windows 10, 11 and Windows Server Executables demo. That's what that is. It's a mouthful. The music is by Epidemic Sound. So if I pull it, there we go. Epidemic Sound. And then if I scroll further, just before the film footage, you can see recorded because I changed it. Okay, it's been altered. So that's how all my movies will now be in this sort of format. It's not filmed in DQHD, but it is recorded in that format because it's been altered and then upgraded and altered, and you get the drift. It could be used in these areas. I'm going to put it to full screen, and I'm going to go to one of my web development stuff. Now here you can see that thing. This site took me about a week to do, if that. Now this took about a day and a half to do this. That's what happens, and you get all these little gadgets and gizmos that I'll put on my site. If I go here to 10, I've got two different ones here, as you can see, or three different ones, with there's just other pictures thrown in between. And then of course I've thrown in that, but that just takes you back to my photography website, which is, this one took 1.5 weeks to complete, this 45 website page. That's just general photos that I did. That's nothing special. My movie sites are here. Sorry, back. Right, there we go. This is Xen Movies. This is just my music stuff that will cater to jazz, rock and roll and folk type of music. It'll be good for the youngsters. The older folk probably would hate this sort of genre stuff. Xen Flicks is a mixture of everything. Now, should this autoplay, all you'd have to do is click on it and it'll stop. The same if I go back here. If that autoplays, if that starts to autoplay, all you have to do is click on it and it will stop. Just to show you that Sam Monday, if I refresh the page and that's Josephine with Sam Monday. Now he does the blues. I'm just going to stop it there and go back to the flicks. There's something I wanted you to see. Now on my demos and how-to, I've got a demo of the QNAP with Windows, a QNAP TS H973AX with the Windows 10, 11 and Server. The best is to possibly use it with Server, because if you're trying to run executables from it, you won't be able to run it from the NAS. You'll have to copy the problem executables to your Windows download folder, and run it from there. But on server, you'll be able to run it directly from the NAS. That's what that is in a nutshell. This one here with QNAP is not a 5K. This is a regular 4K movie video, which demonstrates how to upgrade from 8 gigs to 16 gigs, and that is a must for those with clumsy, bulky hands. And that will show you, like my hand is very big and cumbersome, getting into a small compartment within the NAS, it is very difficult to make some changes, and for that reason it'll be good for you to watch this kind of thing. Now, if I want to show you about the reboot, on reboots on an HDMI you can reboot and you'll get the, if you've got an IBM, HP, Dell or whatever it is, it should show the various logos of your company computer. Like this, in this case, is an MSI. Now I'm going to deliberately reboot my machine and watch, because I'm on a DisplayPort 2 on 240 Hertz, although it'll restart like this here, on the reboot it'll miss out the ability to pop into the menu options in order to get in there for an installation of an operating system. That's why I haven't got one in there when it decides to reboot. It's just playing very slow. This is Windows 11, it's not the final build, so excuse the reasons for the... I just can force a shutdown. When that kind of thing happens, I just force a shutdown. Just shut it down and then switch it on. And then if I use the F11 with this on an MSI system, AMD MSI, all of that sort of system, if I get the F11, it will not allow me to get in there, let alone press the delete key to get into the BIOS. This is because of the 240 Hertz. Windows can't cope with it. You see, it says no signal. By this time it should have picked up a signal that would give me the menu options to boot from. In about a minute's time it'll be in Windows. Right, this is now after I got after 2 hard resets or reboots. I get now the login screen of Windows, and obviously when I'm back in Windows, this is what I now want to show you. It's about, on Windows 11, you see this taskbar at the bottom, that's not movable one, and these icons on the left here are usually in the center. I've moved them to the left, and this is how you would be able to move them or keep them in place. You go to your settings there, and within personalization you scroll down to taskbar, and in various languages that would be at the top in Finnish or Norwegian or elsewhere. It depends on the builds. Here I got it to the left. You can, when you get it, it will be to the center of the screen, which would look like that. As you can see, that's how it is. I couldn't cope with it. On a large screen you don't want that in the center. That is the reason why I deliberately have it on the left. Now watch when I click on it. You can see that the taskbar is where it should be on a huge screen like it. And also, when you're doing photography, it is no distortion, but when you get into Windows for the first time, this is what will happen to you. You'll get into Windows, it won't know, you have to install the monitor drivers as well as the setting box for the that's a trash, sorry. Where is it? There we go. This easy setting box. If you use a CD for the installation of this, there's a flaw with it in which every screen will have a rectangle with a right-handed arrow pointing to the right on all films and all footage everywhere, and that was an issue. To overcome this, I got the download, which is version 1.1.3, copyright 2017 by Samsung Electronics. To quit, do not click on quit. If you do, you won't be able to move it. I want it on 6 screens so that if I click on here, I can then go to where I want it to go. Look, I can put it exactly where I want. To close the screen, you click on the X to exit out of it. That's all you have to do. And you can place these where you want to. The browsers are easy to operate. If I want to use Edge, I click on it. When you get Edge, it'll be like this. And it'll be full screen, similar or partial screen, which you bring it to the full screen until you set for split screen, which you do with the Windows logo, and the right arrow brings it to the right. And you can do that with the various different browsers. The thing I'm going to show you about is the resolution when you get into Windows will not be on 100%, which I had to manually do. It is set on 200%. Look at how horrible that is. Yeah? And it's not on this. Microsoft would die 1,000 deaths if you had it there. They do this. Look how horrible that is. Okay? I'm not going to keep those changes. Obviously not. And obviously I wouldn't use that. Otherwise, why would I get it? See the difference between the two. They can't cope with a high resolution. They'll die. They say that the software won't work, but better believe it. All the software does work. Look at all the stuff I've got here. Yeah? And it's all the ones I would have used on Windows 10 on my commercial version of Windows 10. And everything, a full edition of Adobe with about 21 different products, all working fine. Office 365 working fine. I've got Pinnacle Studio 24 that works fine. I've got all various different stuff on here, as you can tell by looking at all of these different icons. There's not a problem. You will get the occasional glitch with Windows 11 because it's not yet. There's a few glitches which have to be ironed out, and that's basically what it is. And to get the monitor drivers, download them from the Samsung website, and you can manually install it. But to do the executables, copy them from your NAS, if you've got a NAS, into your Windows Downloads folder and run the executables from here, from your Windows Downloads folders, which is there. Okay, put it in the center here. Now you see there, these are what the icons would look like on a Windows 11 desktop. To prove I'm using Windows 11, let's just show you here. Right, and then just click on System, About, as a test, that Windows 11 Pro 21H2. To get this, you put on Windows 10 21H1, and then you sign in into your insider account and upgrade it to 21H2. Then you can go into developer mode, and you can get the Windows 11 Pro, and you can upgrade it that way. And that's how, and then you can sign in with another account. But to use Windows 11, you have to have TPM 2.0, and you also have to have a Microsoft account to sign into Windows. Without that, you'll not be able to use Windows 11. So if you don't like to sign into Microsoft, that's why this would therefore then be an optional upgrade, which would be ruled out by you if you couldn't cope with those. So that is a must to in order to use Windows 11 Pro. It'll be released in probably about mid-October, about 12th to about 20th of October, thereabouts. I can't say exactly when, but it is a very good, robust system, and I have the ability to use BitBlocker. I haven't enabled it, but it is available for me to use, as you can see here. All I have to do is turn it on and it will be on. And of course the camera, that was a separate purchase. The monitor does not have speakers. It's about $12.61. I purchased it from box.co.uk. It's a very good monitor. You can get similar versions to this, which can do the same sort of thing, depending on your budget. A lot of gamers would love this sort of stuff because you can play in full screen on this monitor with this 12 core with liquid cooling. I can play Mass Effect on here from my Steam account without any worries, and it plays just like a dream. But to do that, I'd have to make sure that my Steam software was installed, and it does work with gaming. 11, I don't know how good it's going to be with gaming down the line, but Mass Effect does work on yet in full screen on this monitor on 49-inch, so there's no worries. Okay, I think you get a small black bar at the top or bottom or on the sides, very small, but that's to be accepted. It'll be like a letterbox that you get with Mass Effect. It's the original Mass Effect, and that came from, I think, Electronic Arts, I think it was. But to get away from all of that and back to the subject in hand, and that's all I basically wanted to show you. So in order to show you the demos of setting up Windows, if this had crashed and I wanted to reload it, well, that's a procedure you'd have to go through. Is A, shut it down. So once it's fully shut down, there we are, shut down now. All I need to do now is get an English UK operating system. This is Windows 10 on a USB flash drive. After October it will be Windows 11. This is an upgrade, it's not the full version, so you have to upgrade to that from this. But before you can put that on, that should be 21H2 before you, so you have to sign in with a Microsoft Insider account to use Windows 11, and then you can swap it over once done. So now all I'm going to do is swap the cable, which you will need to see. Right, this is the DisplayPort 2 cable. See the difference with a cable, yeah? So I unplug that one and I plug in the HDMI cable, remove the cap. I've got a 2060 RTX GeForce graphics card from NVIDIA. So that's the reason why I can run this system quite easy. The 32 gigs of RAM and Windows. Now I have to now switch to HDMI. This is for installation of Windows. Hit the FN key, Windows, and hit F11. In this case, on a HP it'll be F9. On other computers it'll vary. The F, you have to check with your manufacturer. Now on the reboot, so on the boot, there we are. It will there we are. See, I can get this. This will not unfold with the DisplayPort 2. Okay, you see the difference. With this cable on 240 Hz, you will not be able to do this. It's for this reason why I keep the two cables, so I don't have to move the monitor. Now what I'm going to do is go here and here to show you. I'm not going to boot into, I'm not going to bugger up the operating system because it's working fine. So what I'm going to do is sit back on here and show you the difference. When I boot into Windows, you'll see it will be on 60 Hz. Click on Next and click on Repair Computer, Continue. I'm just booting straight into Windows, removing the operating system because I'm not going to put it in. I'm leaving it on the HDMI signal. It'll boot into Windows, but the resolution will be done there, but it'll be on a very, you'll see the difference when I get into Windows. If it doesn't boot in, obviously I would have to do a cold boot back into Windows. These things do happen. See there, you get the logo with an HDMI, but you will not get that with the DisplayPort 2. So that is the difference between the two. To save the worry and the hassles of constantly taking the monitor away, turning it around, that's why I do that. Press the escape key and then you can type in your PIN numbers, whatever you happen to choose. It'll boot into Windows just like that. 5120 by 1440 res. If I go here to show you in the settings, (100%) 5120, So there we go. But the actual res of this will be 60 Hertz, okay? Response time faster, okay? And it doesn't show up anything else there, okay? It's just, it is, trust me, it is 60 Hertz. It's grayed out there because this is a HDMI system. Now if I go here, those are the choices for the display ports, 1.2, 1.1, but I use 1.4, which is far superior to that. And of course the HDMI will be version, I think it's version 2.0, I'm not certain of the version, but you'll only get 60 Hertz no matter which version of the HDMI cable. But get a good one, and you can pick them up on Amazon, all 4 cables, 3 meters, and they're not that expensive, and thin ones to be able to get them in behind there. Oh, if you are using the rainbow system, if the desk is in the center of the room and people are walking by, it is going to be a phenomenal thing to see. I'll take the camera off the tripod and actually point it there so that it can be seen. See there? It changes colors, okay? The back of the monitor is white and the front part is black. This is on the HDMI just to show you what happens when you, it'll cope with the res as it is here on 100%. Now what I'm going to do is deliberately swap it back to the DisplayPort 2 and show you the difference. Before I do, note that that is on 60 Hertz here. And of course I'll now cover the DisplayPort, because if I don't it can get dirty and mucky, and if you ruin it then you have to replace the cable. This is just to look after the cables, and you can just put them neatly down at the bottom and down there. Then the last part of it, although I'm in Windows, it can't work out what to do. It's not automatic. Go here. Voila, I'm back in Windows, 100% that, and that's how you do it. Do not use that. Any attempt to use this will screw up your picture. For this reason, I'm glad I spotted it. This is where it's located, under the system, under the display. Do not attempt to switch that on. It'll screw up your color grading of the picture. Okay, and that's it.
Like-minded if we could, but that's not the case.